Chapter 1. The Plan to Plan Your Trip. Every endeavor, whether it's starting a new business, writing a new book, or planning a trip, begins with a plan. Just as you need a strong plan to start your business, you need a strong plan to start your planning session. Why on earth would you need a plan to do a plan? It's simple. Planning a trip is a process, and every process must be worked through in the proper order for it to be successful. When thinking about trip planning, it's clear that planning which motels to stay at in the beginning of the process, before you plan on how many miles you want to travel each day, is a waste of time. Most stops will have to be replanned if you put the motel before the mileage. Here's how to plan your trip. Set a time and date for your first planning session so that all travelers can be present. Gather the resources listed in the previous section. Set some ground rules for the planning sessions. Everybody will have the opportunity to express opinions. Everybody will listen to all the opinions regardless of how bizarre they sound. Everyone will have a vote in every decision. Everybody will keep voices calm, low in decibels, and as kind as possible. Everybody will refrain from name-calling and using words that make mom cringe. And everybody will have access to all resources. Once all the planners are in a good mood, this may take refreshments and other incentives. Choose a starting point and a final destination for the trip, and mark each one with a pink circle on the map of the USA. Each planner will make a list of the places, attractions, and routes they would absolutely love to include, must see, or really want to try and visit on this trip. This list can be made ahead of time. In fact, this would help reduce the length of planning sessions. Gather all lists and make one list, including all entries, being sure to mark entries that were on multiple lists with the number of lists. For example, if the Alamo was on 3 lists, enter a red 3 beside it on the list. Locate each entry on the USA map and mark each one with a yellow circle. Draw a green line from the starting point through each yellow circle. Try not to backtrack to the destination. Study the results and assess each line and circle to determine which stops are feasible, which routes will take you through the most popular sites, and how many days it will take to make these stops along those routes. If your green line is straight and goes through stops that are on each list in equal segments, then your planning to plan your trip is complete. In fact, your planning's almost done. Chances are this won't happen, and what you will have is a map with 2 pink circles, at least 2 or 3 dozen yellow circles, depending on the number of travelers, and a jagged, convoluted, and very long green line. In this case, you will want to take a break for refreshments, or maybe even to another time, and make the following decisions. Which route you will take from the starting point to the destination. This may depend on the time of year, since southern route makes more sense in the winter than the route through South Dakota. Approximate places for overnight stops, after deciding on your minimum and maximum daily mileage. Attractions and sites you will visit along the way. Mark the must-sees with a bright marker. And promise each other that flexibility and common sense will prevail in your final planning. Have everyone make a list of the attractions, sites, cities, and regions you plan to visit, and have each person agree to gather specific resources for the next session. There are many travel books available from the travel planning organizations like AAA, and there are travel brochures and magazines published by almost every state in the Union. Most counties and/or regions in every state, and the vast majority of large cities, and many smaller cities as well. Historic sites and parks provide free travel information in the form of brochures, maps, and promotional material from every place within 50 to 100 miles of them. With everyone promising to bring these resources to the next session, your planning to plan is complete, and you are ready to get down to business. Your first planning session. Gather your travelers and the resources they brought. Make the coffee and get out the cookies. Start with an upbeat attitude, even excitement, by looking at your route and sharing information about prior experiences about the stops and sites you have marked. Each traveler should have a notebook and make appropriate notes so that everyone has the same information in front of them during the discussions. Spread around the printed resources and take some time to look over them, making notes of the important information. Of course, the internet is the most complete source there is for travel information, and the information available has the added benefit of being in video form on many websites. It's possible to see virtually every spot you want to visit on your trip by booting up your computer while you're poring over the maps. The internet also provides mapping programs on Google.com, Yahoo.com, AAA.com, and other travel sites. All you have to do is enter the starting point and the destination, and the program will provide you with written directions, as well as detailed maps of the route. You will have accurate mileage and, in most cases, even the locations of lodging, attractions, restaurants, gas stations, and restrooms. If anyone is experienced with any of these online tools, it's wise to give the job of manipulating the websites to one person. If a wireless connection is available and others have laptops, it's helpful if everyone can do the same thing without hanging over each other or trying to see around corners. The planning software available online can be invaluable in finding places you have chosen. It can also find unique and out-of-the-way travel gems that no one knew about, but which can make your trip. For example, in planning a trip from New York to Florida, one computer user decided to stop in Plains, Georgia to visit the Jimmy Carter National Historic Site. A routing software showed some hotels along the I-75 corridor, some 20 to 30 miles from Plains. But a further search uncovered the Plains Historic Inn, with rooms decorated in different styles according to the decades, from 1920 to 1980. A top-rated restaurant, and a room rate of $74 to $100 per night. This has become a regular stop on the annual New York to Florida run. If no one has the ability to use one of these online tools, consider engaging in the services of a travel consultant. A solid, workable travel plan is worth every cent you will pay.